Hey guys, it's Retired at 40. If you're watching this video, you're more than likely considering making the jump between propane and wood pellets. But before you do, take a minute to listen to someone who's owned one for 2 years, and I can point out some pros and cons for you. So if you're watching this, you more than likely have checked out the prices of a Traeger grill or comparable grills in the pellet grill category. So if you're like me and 99% of other people who have common sense, price is a big factor. And as of right now, the large size Traegers are going from anywhere from about $800 to $1,000. So depending on how you view this, that might be a pro or a con. It's obviously a con if you're used to propane grills because they're going to be about half the price as this model, which is the Little Tex. However, it could be a pro because if you're looking at other pellet grills, there are definitely ones that are more expensive than the Traeger. So we kind of started it off with a pro or a con. So let's move on to a pro, because there are quite a few pros for the Traeger. The biggest pro, in my opinion, especially if you've moved on from a propane grill to a pellet grill, is the taste and the flavor that you're going to get out of that wood pellet. There's so many varieties of pellets, from apple to hickory to pecan to mesquite to just a basic oak blend. There's lots and lots and lots of choices. So that brings me to my next con. You can find propane just about anywhere. A hardware store, a grocery store, a gas station, all kinds of different places. But where can you get pellets? And especially Traeger pellets. Now, although you don't have to use Traeger's actual pellets, they recommend it, but there's all kinds of different companies that make the pellet. However, there's only a limited amount of places that you can get them, but the amount of places you can get them is increasing, especially with Traeger and other pellet grills catching on now. So most people's question is going to be, how much do the pellets cost in comparison to propane? A tank of propane is what, $20 to $25, and a bag of Traeger pellets is about $20 to $25. So as far as like a cost analysis on which is more expensive, I don't know, I would lean towards that the pellets are probably a little bit more expensive, but I think you'll find the comparison that there is no comparison when it comes to taste and the flavor. So making the transition from propane to pellets, that's going to lead to my next pro and con. The next con is actually getting used to using pellets. We've all been just kind of conditioned to using propane for so long that it's kind of hard to get in the swing of not using it at all anymore and this whole new way of grilling. But on the plus side of that, using a pellet and using electricity opens up a whole new world of what you can do with your grill. Basically getting a grill, a smoker, and a convection oven all in one. So enough blabbing, let's take the cover off this and check it out. So the first thing you'll notice is for a 2-year-old grill, this still looks really good. And I am not meticulous about cleaning this thing by any means. The sun's very intense here, and a typical grill, it gets really faded out, it starts rusting, and it looks like crap after 2 years. This is all really thick steel, stainless steel handle. The legs are really solid on it. So the construction quality of these grills is pretty damn good. I think the shell of this itself, if you keep a cover on it and keep it relatively clean, it'll pretty much last forever. My biggest gripe when I first got this Traeger, and what many people will gripe about, is that it doesn't come with any accessories. This, you see, this shelf that I bought, that was aftermarket. I think it was about 60 bucks. You can get a lower shelf, but without it, all you have is this 55-gallon drum and something to cook on. You don't have anything you can set anything on. So maybe that's not a big deal for some people, but for me that was. Okay, now I'm going to move into the inside and I'm going to give you 3 pros. And these are all 3 huge pros in my book. The first one is the size of this thing. You can fit, I have fit 2 16-pound turkeys on here before with room to spare. I mean, you could probably do 40 hamburgers on here. The size is enormous. You know, this is, I don't know, probably 3.5 to 4 feet wide. My second big pro is the temperature on this thing. It holds a temperature within probably 5 degrees of what you set it to. Try doing that on your propane grill. My third pro is the ease of cleanup. And I'm going to take this apart to show you what this all involves. And it has ceramic grates. You can just wipe it off with a paper towel. Okay, once you get the grate off, you've got this big drip pan, and I like to put aluminum foil on mine, and then you can just peel the aluminum foil off and you've got a clean drip pan again. This drip pan takes all of that crap that normally falls down in a propane grill, and it goes all the way over to here, funnels it down into a bucket, and it prevents flare-ups. Okay, once you get your drip pan and your grill grate off, there's this little heat shield that just sits on here. So, getting to my third big pro is the cleanup. And you can see the inside of this is not full of junk like a propane grill would be. All this is just soot. It's just ash. You take a shop vac, you vacuum all this up, and you're done. You do that every probably 10 times you grill, and that's all there is to clean up other than just wiping off the outside. So speaking of that, well, I've got this all torn apart. I'm going to take 2 or 3 minutes and clean mine out. Alright, we're ready for another 20 times. Now, I've had my Traeger for almost 2 years now, and I can tell you that I have never burned a single thing on it. It's almost impossible to burn something on it. You can definitely overcook things. You can dry them out a little bit if you left it on for 2 hours or something. But it's almost impossible to burn something because you have that convection air just constantly circling around, and there's no flame, so there's no flare-up. So kind of going along with the accessories thing, my grill is a couple years old, so some of the technology that was an upgrade back when I bought mine is just standard on most of them now. A big one for me was the controller. Mine had the crappy old controller on it. I upgraded to the Pro controller, which a lot of the new ones have that on there. The Pro controller is really great. It comes with 2 probes that you can feed through here. You can press a button and get an instant temperature on 2 different items. So you have the advantage of knowing what the meat temperature is, or whatever you're cooking, whatever that temperature is, without actually opening the hood and letting all the heat out of it. If you want to find out more about this Pro controller, I'll put a link above and down below in the description. So another big plus for me is the ease of operation, and I want to show you how easy it is to turn this on. Alright, it's been about 3 minutes. You can see the smoke's coming out now. So now what you would do is just turn it up to your desired temperature on your controller over here, and then wait another about 10 minutes for it to get up to heat, and then throw your stuff on. I've done a pork shoulder on here, put the pork shoulder on in the morning, went up skiing, came back, and 8 hours later, I didn't even check on it a single time. No burning, pork shoulder was perfect, right at temperature, and I had dinner that night waiting for me. So since we're talking about the controller, my next con would be that the temperature only goes up to 450, and some people have, and I've seen that some people have complained that they would like something that goes up a little bit higher than that. Some of the competitors go up to 700. In my opinion, I don't think I've ever needed anything more than 450. If you're searing a steak or something like that, 450 is plenty in my opinion. If you go up much higher than that, the grill gets so hot where it's almost unusable to me. Some people would probably like it to have a little bit higher, but to me 450 is plenty. It's a calm day out today, but Traeger's worst enemy is wind, and really any grill's biggest enemy is wind, but it seems to really affect the Traeger. That kind of brings me to my next con. So you obviously can't control the wind other than putting the grill somewhere where it's not as windy, but the whole system of the Traeger is based on electronics. So if the electronics fail, or if the wind messes up one of the temperature sensors in there, you can get different readings, just like you would get in a car almost, like a check engine light or something. So if you're curious about that, I've got a video on a couple of those. One is the LER, I'll put the link above and below once again. One of the biggest things that Traeger has going for it is it has a gigantic loyal fan base. And there's lots of people that are die-hard Traeger fans, anywhere from people like me who are just grilling at home to pit masters at barbecue competitions. And that's a huge plus, because you always feel like you have a support base. If you have questions, if you have problems, and you can always send me a question. I'd be more than happy to help you. So my final thought on the Traeger after owning it for 2 years is I do really like it. I've switched and I'm not looking back ever to propane. I like it so much that I've bought my in-laws one and I bought my own parents one just so they could experience the difference. I think the old adage, you get what you pay for, goes a long ways in many different circumstances, and I'll say that for Traeger. I think that you get what you pay for with the Traeger. It is a little expensive, but for me it's well worth the price. The food quality is excellent, the build quality is excellent, and just the ease of operation is pretty hard to beat. I always look forward to your comments and questions. Give me a thumbs up if you like the video, and feel free to take a moment to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell for notifications for upcoming videos. Until next time, this is Retired at 40 reminding you to live life simple, and we'll catch you next time.